Hi, and welcome to another episode of Reclaim Your Professional Identity. I'm your host, Nathan Pearce, and this is brought to you by Risk-Free Side Hustle, which you can find at rfsh.co. We're going to continue our mini-series on the 4 stages of side hustling. So today, let's dive into something that might resonate with many of you. The phase where you're intrigued by the idea of starting a side hustle, but haven't quite taken the plunge. It's that space where your thoughts are simmering, but action feels just out of reach. Sound familiar? Well, grab your cup of coffee and let's chat about this pre-commit phase and why it's more common and more important than you think. You know that feeling when an idea starts to take root in your mind? Maybe you've daydreamed about launching a project, scribbled down some thoughts, or even chatted with friends about someday turning your passion into something more. Yet, despite this bubbling curiosity, you haven't moved forward. And here's the kicker. You might be feeling frustrated with yourself, wondering if you're lazy or missing your moment. Let me assure you, you're not alone. And you're certainly not behind. You're simply in what we call stage 0, the pre-commit stage. This stage is where many of us find ourselves lingering. It's a period filled with curiosity, yes, but also a fair share of uncertainty. You love the idea of a side hustle, but aren't entirely sure what it entails. There's that anxiety about putting yourself out there, the nagging question of whether you're ready or qualified, and the ever-present thought, I'll start when things calm down. Recognize any of these feelings? They're all hallmarks of stage 0. But don't let this stress you out. I spent 5 years in stage 0. Here's the truth that often gets overlooked. Most side hustles don't begin with unwavering certainty. They begin with a spark of curiosity. And this stage, as nebulous as it might feel, is foundational. What you do during this time can determine whether you eventually step onto the starting line or remain on the sidelines. Ignoring the doubts and fears doesn't make them disappear. In fact, they tend to grow louder. However, acknowledging this discomfort and allowing yourself to explore without pressure can be incredibly liberating. It's not about drafting a detailed business plan right now. It's about tuning into your curiosity and seeing where it leads. So let's talk about what's really at play during stage 0. Beyond the surface level uncertainty lies a deeper emotion, fear. Fear of being seen starting small, fear of investing time into something that might not pan out, fear of choosing the wrong idea, and perhaps most daunting, fear of what others might think. These fears are not flaws. They're natural responses to stepping into the unknown. Trying something new inherently comes with a dose of apprehension. So, what can you do if you find yourself in this pre-commit phase? Good news is, you don't need to have all the answers, a niche carved out, or a strategic plan in place. What you need is to grant yourself permission to take one small step that allows your ideas some breathing room. Maybe it's having a candid conversation with someone about what's been on your mind, journaling your thoughts, interests, or frustrations, researching individuals whose work you admire to understand what draws you to them, or setting aside a brief, dedicated time to follow your curiosity wherever it leads. Remember, this isn't about building a business overnight. It's about initiating a dialogue with yourself. As you engage in this exploratory process, you'll start to notice patterns. Certain topics will consistently capture your attention, and connections between your skills and the problems you're passionate about solving will become clearer. This organic discovery sets the stage for the next phase. Stage 1, discovery, where your side hustle ideas begin to take a more defined shape. Wherever you are right now, especially if you're still in the thinking about it mode, Understand that you're not behind. You're on the cusp of beginning something meaningful. Embrace this phase. Allow yourself the grace to explore without judgment. And trust that every big endeavor starts with the decision to begin. So, what's one small step you can take this week to honor your curiosity? How can you gently nudge yourself from contemplation toward action, even if it's just a tiny move forward? Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step. Let's take that step together. Till next time, keep nurturing those ideas and be kind to yourself in the process.